6 weeks.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a new place. So we'll get into that. All right.
Brand new.
Boom! We're back. Squeeze the Neck podcast. And today I'm in a place I believe it's called Kinsley.
Yeah, Kinsley.
Kinsley near Wakefield. Doing all right with my new mate, Scott Askham. Askham. I got it right in practice. I'm thinking about it. Thank you very much for doing it.
Thanks for that.
Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Former UFC fighter. KSW World Champion, Black Belt Jiu Jitsu, all-round animal. Thanks for having me, mate.
No, thank you for coming.
Before we get into anything too deep, for anyone who doesn't know, tell us who you are.
Yeah, so you pretty much just said it. Scott Askham, father of 2 children, married to my beautiful wife. Now coach here at Foundry MMA, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's
really.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
And like, where are you from originally, mate? You from these parts?
I'm from Emsworth, which is the next village. So Emsworth Water Park is like, you could throw a stone to Emsworth Water Park from here, that's pretty well known. But that's actually in Kinsley, but it's classed as Emsworth Water Park.
Right, okay.
So they're under the same postcode, the WF9 postcode. So,
I got you. And what sort of time frame we've grown up with? How old are you now?
I'm 37 now.
37, so if my maths is right, 1988?
88.
Bosh, not bad, huh? Not bad. So like, how'd you get into martial arts originally, mate? Was you a kid in fighting?
Yeah, so I started boxing when I was 11 years old. And I can still remember my first time stepping into a boxing gym. I still remember this, and I try to explain this to new people stepping through. I know that feeling of stepping through the door. I've done that myself, and I can understand it can be a very daunting thing. You know what I mean? So it's our job as a coach, you'll know yourself, to make people feel welcome and make them realise that it's not all these things that they think it is. You know what I mean? It's like obviously a lot better than and we need to make sure that they have a good experience, sort of thing. And I had a good experience, obviously, but I was super nervous the first time I walked in. I was stood at the side of the radiator there. They all were skipping, and it took my dad to start skipping for me to get involved. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I've never looked back since.
Was he a fighter, your dad?
He's had a couple, but yeah. I wouldn't say he was a fighter or anything,
Right.
but he's had a couple of boxing matches. He started doing boxing when I was doing boxing as well. So, yeah, he's.
Because boxing was the thing, right? My first start was boxing as well, and like I don't know about it for yourself, but from where I was in London, like for other things, like you heard about people doing jiu-jitsu and you kind of knew what it was, but it was still a bit weird. Do you know what I mean? It was still one of them things that was a bit fringe, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I probably didn't really hear about jiu-jitsu till probably 2006 or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't start maybe 2004, 2005 actually, but. With the UFC and watching the old tapes with Oish Gracie, but yeah, I didn't start training jiu-jitsu till 2008. So
right.
I always tell a joke. I had 2 fights and then I started training.
But I tell you, it's funny you say that. Like 2008 feels quite recent, doesn't it? But when you think about it, 2008 is nearly 20 years ago, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It goes.
So obviously I just got into MMA cage fight with just boxing experience.
Yeah, well that was the name as well. It was cage fight. MMA, was it? Like, you know.
And so my coach was a bare knuckle boxer, which again bare knuckle boxing wasn't even about back then. So I started off at a gym like that. I got beat 2 times by submission, and I moved to Doncaster Martial Arts, where I still train to this day. That's where I'm a black belt under Neil Owen. And yeah, my boxing coach actually made me choose between MMA and boxing.
Did he? Yeah.
I got grassed up for doing MMA, because again it was a little bit more frowned upon back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't as much as a sport. So it was easy decision I ever made, to be honest with you. I do love MMA. I'm still learning to this day. Yeah.
That's mad, because like boxing back in the day, was you amateur boxing? And you
Yeah,
was having
amateur boxing,
bouts, you was
yeah,
carded, the whole
yeah.
deal. Like, was your desire? Was it just a fun thing, or was your desire to be a pro at that point?
See, this is the thing. I think it was just a fun thing. People start to say it pretty early in MMA that I could go all the way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right,
but
okay.
I never was one of them that like were a kid that like, oh, my dream's to be in the UFC or anything. Do you know what I mean? I love doing it, and then obviously it progressed into my job eventually, and here we are today, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It was never. I was never one of them who thought I'm going to be world champion or anything like that. Do you know
That's
what I
quite
mean?
funny, that, isn't it? Because it. Well, I say that there's people I speak to on here a lot. That it either goes one or two ways. It is the whole like I'm going to be world champion from the age of 4 and all that shit, or a bit like yourself. It just kind of seems like see how it goes, and you end up going a long way. But like, what was the state of MMA like? Because you said you're training in Doncaster, like back in sort of 2008, 2006 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, is there much MMA going on, or is it just a load of geezers having a fight in a room sometimes?
So again, back then it was a lot more like doormen and
that's what
like,
I mean,
and like tough guys. You know what I mean? There weren't no juniors like we've got now. Do you know what I mean? There 100% no juniors. If you took your kid to one of them gyms, people would think you're a psychopath. Do you know what I mean? And how it's took off with the juniors, like I feel like we've given them a platform now and give them something to look up to. The IMMAF, for example, that wasn't about when I was a junior, when I was an amateur, but it's something that I wish was about. And I always take the slightest little bit of credit. You know, Mohamed Makayev, he says that it was me who advised him to go to the IMMAF.
God,
and I'm like,
hell of a shout.
Hell of a name. Obviously, he did all the work, but I was the guy. I was the guy with the design. Like, go do all that work over there.
That's funny because he's undefeated amateur and pro. I think.
He's still undefeated now.
And what's he's coming up to? I mean, you'll know better than me, but he's somewhere near 40 fights, amateur and pro.
I think he was 27-0 as an amateur.
It's just nuts, isn't it?
He's got to be like 15-0 or something now. He's got to be.
Because he's like, for anyone who doesn't know, he was in the UFC, got cut from the UFC without losing because of whatever.
And then he's had the fight on Karate Combat, and he's still
Karate Combat.
I
Exactly. Still
think he had the grappling tournament. He's doing unbelievable things. But like I say, I was in the UFC at the time, and I was training over in Liverpool at Aspire, and I'd even say like I've always. Every time I've seen Mo, he's like, I had a picture took with him. Like, bear in mind, you got to think he was like a 15-year-old kid, and I went UFC. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's the other way around. I look up to him, I think, wow, it's great.
You're Mo's friend now. But I'll tell you what's funny now is that as time goes on, it's a legit career now, isn't it? Because like you said back in the day, it was just a load of doormen, and it was called cage fighting, and people looked down on it. Where it's still not the money really as there is in boxing, but I think it's changing a bit, and I think it will come round.
It's definitely getting there. I feel like the changes are coming. But yeah, I'd say to any young child that came through the door who were dreaming about a fighter, you've got to put the work in. It's as simple as that. Like it's not easy. No. Like I am proud in one sense of what I've achieved in my career, but it took a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of support as well. You see it all the time. People dream about being in these positions, but then like, come on, mate, get yourself a sofa. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Train 3 times a day and get up in the morning.
You're not going to get it from being sat on a sofa, and I feel like it takes a lot of work, and if you put the work in, it's 100% there. Do you know what I mean? And again, for me personally, I've done so much travelling all the way around the world, learning my art. And even in UK, whenever I went camp in UK, like the closest place I was training were like 30, 40 minutes away.
Right.
So for me to put this on my doorstep right here, where I'm from, I'm very proud of that. And I've surrounded myself with good coaches as well, Jack Radford and Mickey Lockie. So we've got it all here. Every day you can see the place, look at the place. Everybody who walks through the door gives us credit on the facility. I know for well we're going to get credit on the coaching as well, so we've just got to keep building that. And I want to do all this again as a coach. That's my goal. I'd love nothing more to do. I love the moments I've had in my career, but I'd love nothing more than to do it again. They say there's nothing better than being a kid at Christmas, and then they say it's being a parent at Christmas. I feel like me doing that with my students, that'll be the same story.
Well, that's interesting as well. And plug this place, mate. Foundry MMA. Did I say that right? That's the correct name. Yeah. So obviously we said Kinsley. I pronounced that right. I got your name wrong, but we circle back. But like as you was talking about earlier, like this place I walked in, it's like a proper facility, isn't it? You know what I mean? And also what you touched on a little bit is like when it's a bit cold, sometimes you go in like old school boxing gym. Like this is a welcoming environment, isn't it? You know what I mean? Everyone said hello to me at the desk.
100,000,000%. I've always, that's another thing I've said, I hate training in the UK in the winter, do you know what I mean? And if I ever open the gym, it has got to be warm in winter. Like you walk into these places and your feet are ice cold, like rocks, and you take like 45 minutes to get warm, do you know what I mean? And then you're expected to have a good session and perform good, do you know what I mean? It's like the really tough environments to get warm and exceeding, do you know what I mean? So again, that's something else that I want to bring I'm really happy with how it's all turned out.
That's brilliant, man. And what is the sort of desire with this place? Is this sort of for everyone, or are you looking to have actual fighters from here as well?
That's another thing. That I'm glad you said that. Yeah, no gym in the world runs off of fighters.
No.
Yeah, impossible. Like, you have got to have the everyday person in that gym. Yeah, so we're more than happy and to have people come in who want to fight from us. But we want the everyday person, the people who are going to work and doing this as an hobby as much as anyone. And I feel like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, more than anything, as you'll know yourself, that is the thing that you can do at any age.
Right.
Yeah? You can start now from at my place from 7. I know other places do a little bit younger. From our place from 7 years old. And you see gyms with 50, 60-year-old men still training, you know what I mean? And that's what we want. That's what Jiu-Jitsu is about. It's like you get them friendships, you get them bonds. We want to go out as a team together and compete. Again, if you don't want to compete, even if you want to come along as a fan, they're all things that we want from this club.
And I think that's really important as well, isn't it? Like,
Definitely,
people miss that, and I think people that don't train maybe regular or sort of like us, where it's a lifestyle, they don't appreciate it as much, because no one wants to walk in a gym where it's I don't mean temperature cold, I mean just like no one really speaks. Because we've all been in them gyms, haven't we? Do you know, where people grunt at you?
100%.
And it's not,
definitely.
you know, you don't want to be there 5 days a week if it's like that.
No, definitely not. And that's one thing that I feel like we've got a good group of guys here, do you know what I mean? There were 2 guys just talking recently who have started like when we first started, and a guy ended up in a free with them, and he said how welcoming everybody here were, and I was really happy to hear that, do you know what I mean? Because we have got a good group here. It's a good atmosphere, good energy. Everybody goes home, everybody's telling jokes, everybody's having a laugh. That's what we really want.
Yeah, and that's how it builds for the future, innit? And especially now, like, you've got kids. I can't see them from here, but I can hear them. You've got young kids in here. Do you know what I mean? So 10 years there'll be young men, young ladies, whatever.
I should be helping in that class, but I messed up. I'm so sorry about that.
Mate, I'm grateful for you having me. But
I was.
Bit cold in Kinsley standing outside. We'll leave it there. But no, but as I say, mate, I'm grateful to be here and stuff like that.
So
and like with these places now, they're everywhere, aren't they? The MMA places, like, where it's not weird anymore and people do it. There's still people sort of frown upon it, but I think Jiu-Jitsu's got a big part to play in that, right? Because like you said,
massively,
not everyone, like in your 50s and 60s, don't want to be getting punched in the head anymore, right?
No,
but you can always grapple if you're smart and you're training with the right people.
100%, yeah. At any age, some people don't want to be getting punched in the head, and that's why Jiu-Jitsu's there. And so we've designed our timetable. So the only session that is called MMA is actually on a Friday.
Right.
But all our classes are MMA based. So we've got striking at 6:15. This is for the adults. We've got striking at 6:15 Monday to Thursday, whether that's boxing or K1. And then we've got the grappling at 7:15, whether that's gi or no gi. So obviously we ain't got no wrestling in there, but wrestling is implemented into the grappling sessions. I mean, we ain't got no wrestling for MMA as such, but it's all wrestling for MMA. Do you know what I mean? I'm an MMA fighter, and obviously that's what I've dedicated my life to. So any questions you've got about MMA, I understand the environment that you need to be in, and I feel like I looked at when designing the timetable, I looked at what I did as a student, and everything I did in the UK, I was finding the best striking coaches, the best grappling coaches, the best wrestling coaches, and then I was putting it all together in the MMA session. So I feel like that's why we designed that timetable that way. And then I feel like that's how fighters are going to really excel, and they're going to skyrocket.
Yeah, and I think with experience of training martial arts and stuff too, you can sort of see where to cut the fat off the bone, can't you? Like the stuff that you don't need that comes from, say, I don't know, judo, boxing, whatever arts you've been doing. There's always bits and pieces you can cut out. And when I'm speaking, we mentioned him off camera, Owen Livesey, shout out Owen, hope you're well, mate.
Owen.
But we was talking a little bit about judo and like how there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons for MMA, but you know, obviously with his experience, like cutting bits off that you don't need, and it goes a long way. With someone like yourself, how many pro fights you had as an MMA fighter?
27.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's a hell of a lot of fights to be having. Do you know? Are you still fighting now, or is it...
Bit of grey area.
Right, okay. Cut, we'll leave that.
No, you don't need cutting or anything. No, 100% don't need cutting, but. Yeah, I've unofficially retired.
Right.
If the right opportunity comes, maybe I will have one more. But right now, I'm focused on my students.
But it sounds like the itch is still there from looking at you when I asked that.
I'm in shape.
Yeah.
Like I'm never not in shape. I enjoy being in shape. I enjoy training with the guys. I still spar on a Thursday with all the pros. We have a good pro team that come down on Thursday, and I'll never not love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's me just not wanting to finally give it away and say I am done. You know what I mean? But I don't think I'll fight again. You know what I mean?
Really? Well, I'll tell you why I asked, because the age you are now, like you're in good nick, you looked after yourself.
Yeah.
That's young nowadays, I think, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's not like it used to be.
Yeah, exactly what you said. And me being like a 26-year-old fighter coming up, a lot of people were retiring at like 38. So I always had that in my scopes. Like I wanted to go to 38. I was never saying I was definitely gonna retire at 38. I might have gone longer, or I might have retired sooner. And I feel like a few things have been forced out of my hand. But the main thing is I'm happy. You see it all the time in all professional sports when people retire and they're unhappy, and then it goes the wrong way. So that's the main thing. I'm happy in the position I'm in. So
that's good, mate. And you was a middleweight fighter, right?
Yeah,
was your career middleweight? Did you go all the way through?
Yeah.
Because how much do you weigh now, sitting here?
So I'm actually lighter now than I would be if I was out in camp. I am pretty clean with my diet and stuff, but I actually miss a couple of meals. I force feed myself when I'm in camp to keep my weight up. So I'm like 91 kilos now.
Right, okay.
I can be up to like 93, 95 when I'm...
But to me, that's like a good weight, because 84 kilos, right? Or 185 pounds for the Americans. But it's like, that to me makes sense, right? Because we've all been around people as well that you look at them, that are bigger than you, that fight a fucking like lightweight, and you look at them and you go like, bro, I'm exaggerating a bit, but you get what I'm saying? Like they're way overweight.
Yeah, again, like I said, if I had to make weight this Friday, I could make. I could make weight. I never balloon up as such. You know what I mean?
But I mean, that's healthy, right? That's got to be for longevity of your career. That's got to be better, on you.
Longevity in life.
You have everything, right? Exactly. Because again, people coming to the end of the career, you touched on it a little bit. It's like sometimes it can be a bit sad. Like people are sort of forced out of it, innit? Like with you, it's like you got the option to still fight if you want, which is obviously a good place to be.
No, that's a very good way of looking at it. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. It's good to have it there if I want it, but like I say, I'm not in a position where I need it as such. You know what I mean? So I'm more I talk about it, more happy I'm getting with the position I'm in as such.
It's got to be over at some point, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? A certain time is over. But go back to the start of your career, mate. Like when you I don't know if you turned pro back then, or was it just like that was how you fought? You turned pro.
Yeah. So I actually had quite a tough amateur career. So I lost my first 2 fights, and I started training in Doncaster. Got submitted both times, and then I started to learn grappling. I won 6 straight, but I fought some guys who went on to have good pro careers there. It was a little bit old school back then, and my coach like, you need testing as an amateur, which I still agree with. You know what I mean? Like the first 3 or 4, I don't think you do, but then as an amateur, you should be getting tested. And I beat some good names, and then I went pro, and I was 7-0 before I fought anybody any good. Through no fault of my own, by the way. Like I matched up against some good names that just kept pulling out. I had no luck with stuff like that. I was a decent ticket seller, so they always found me a numpty to fight. I mean, again, not my fault. I can remember my 7th pro fight. Like I hit him. I think it was a straight left or an head kick, and he went down. And I could have finished him there and then, but I waved him back up because I was that angry. You know what I mean? Like I was mad that I was in that situation. Like there were like 80 fans that came to watch me, and like he just went down like that. You know what I mean? And I was just frustrated. And I signed to my management. I got an opportunity on Cage Warriors at 7-0. I beat Dennis and Sutherland, who were ranked 8th in country at the time. He was matched up actually against Matt Nielsen. I don't know if you know Matt Nielsen, but. He was a Swedish fighter, pretty well known. He ranked fairly high in Europe. And my manager actually said, Scott will fight him. And Ian Dean were like, no, we don't think Scott's ready, he hasn't fought anybody. And Dennis and Sutherland didn't get in the match. Anyway, Matt Nielsen pulled out with an injury, and I jumped in on 2 weeks' notice to fight Dennis and Sutherland. And the rest was history. My career skyrocketed from there, sort of thing.
Was there sort of visions of like, I want to be a UFC champion or that business that starts to creep in?
I wanted to be in the UFC. Like,
is this before pro or after you've turned pro?
Probably as I turned pro. I never thought I could be UFC champion. That's the thing. At least I was honest with myself. I can remember looking when I was in the UFC. I can remember looking at the top guys. I thought I can't fucking beat them.
Oh, really?
I really thought that. And but then I started training at ATT. When I got cut from the UFC, and I went on best run I went on, so I got ranked up to 13th in the world after I got caught on a 5-fight win streak. And I was looking at them top guys, and I was thinking, yeah, I can beat a lot of them then. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it just proves that timing, and I wasn't ready. I feel like, so when I got cut from the UFC, it was on a split decision. It was the most strikes I'd landed in a UFC fight. That was my first fight, ATT. Like, I feel like if they give me one more, I feel like they would have probably seen a lot more from me. But again, it's timing's everything. I don't regret anything. I'm absolutely buzzing with how my career went outside the UFC. So people were saying all the time, will you go back to the UFC, will you go back? And I felt like that chapter was closed, it was done. You know what I mean? I've been there, I've done it, and I'm happy with where my career was. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to sit home crying about it or anything like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how it all panned out. You know what I mean? My career leaving the UFC couldn't have gone any better till COVID. I feel like I beat Mohamed Khalid off at back end of 2019, and that was like the peak of my career. You know what I mean? Like,
and you was KSW champion, weren't you? Which
yeah,
KSW, for anyone who doesn't know, is a big Polish organisation, isn't it? Probably the biggest in Europe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's very well known.
So they had the biggest attendance in the world till. Oh no, sorry, Risen had the biggest, and then that was like the second. So I fought Mohamed Khalid in the trilogy. That were in front of 52 or 53,000. That were big
proper crowd.
Yeah. That was coming off back an injury. I had 2.5 years out. Yeah, that's a different story. Like,
man. And what's that like? Like, I know it sounds like a silly question, but from other people I spoke to fought in front of that kind of amount of people, there was sort of almost a calm with that because it's too many people versus sort of 15, 20,000 in an arena. It feels like it. And was that an experience, or was it just mental because there were so many people? So,
some of my best experiences and worst experiences at KSW are to do with crowd. Yeah. When I fought Materla the first time, that was my first time in Poland, first time at KSW event, I didn't realise how big it was. Yeah. When I did that opening ceremony there, and they introduced the fighters. So they do an opening ceremony and they introduce each fighter at the start of the show. And I expected them to boo me, yeah. And I got a cheer from the Polish fans. It's nothing like football, and I was took back by that. I thought, this is mint. And then they announced Materla. I didn't even know that Materla was that big of a star. You know what I mean? They announced Materla, and I swear the atmosphere in the crowd was unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? Some people are shell up in that, but I honestly thought, you're not going to be fucking cheering soon. That's the mentality I had, you know what I mean? And obviously I went out and beat him. They were saying it was a lucky kick, and then I finished the next guy with the same kick. So then they started calling me the liver hunter. Some really, really good times in Poland. And I never got to walk out second, right? Even when I was champion and I fought Mohamed the first time, I walked out first because like he was still the superstar, and it was classed as a super fight.
Bit moody that, isn't it? You're the champion.
Yeah. So I'm like, a bit weird, but whatever. Anyway, so I finally got to walk out second. It was during COVID in front of 200 people, right? I swear, I came down this lift, right? It was in an hotel. They still did all the like pyrotechnics and stuff. And I swear, I looked at the crowd. It was like every person would just stood there like looking at me. I'm like, this is fucking mad. Like,
that's quite hard, I would imagine.
I thrive off the atmosphere and being the underdog and being in them environments where they want me to lose. I feel like I really excelled. And when I walked out in front of 50,000, obviously I've been out for 2.5 years. I was buzzing to be back. I came out to he's coming home, tell the world that he's coming home. Just everything about it was buzz. I didn't get the result I wanted. Obviously that was a bit of come down, but the build up to the fight was something else.
That's mad, yeah. Because like when you look back on times, like obviously you're still a young man now, but like when you do get a bit older, and you look back on experiences in life, to walk out in front of 52,000 people, like how many people can say they've done that? Do you know what I mean?
100%, yeah, definitely. And I feel like more I'm coming towards the end of my career. Like now I can enjoy them moments.
Do you appreciate it more now than when it was happening?
Definitely, yeah. Because I was so. I'm still not like over any of my losses, do you know what I mean? Yeah, right. I hate every one of my losses, but I can be more at peace with them. And there's one thing I can say, if my career is done, I did everything I could. You know what I mean? I did everything I could to be the best I could be. I knew that like was previously talked about. I want that guy sat at home like being told to get up off the sofa. You know what I mean? I was up off the sofa and I did everything I could. I did the travelling. I did everything I could to be the best. Maybe I did fall a bit short, but I've definitely got some good moments.
Mate, there's something to be said about someone who tries, though, isn't there? I really believe in that. You know what I mean? And to be fair, like, you know, you've gone out there, tried, and you come up short.
Yeah.
It's like you're touching on with the guy on the sofa. Which one do you rather be?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah. I was going to say something else there. I just went off it, but yeah. I 100% give it my all. That's the main thing. It's the only thing you can do, really, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. And like, I'll tell you one thing that interests me a lot with training. It's obviously a lot different now than what it would have been when you started. Like when you did start training and you saw it, it's like the atmosphere, the doorman and whatever. Was it just a case of showing up a few times a week and just training as hard as you could, or was there strength and conditioning aspects to it and stuff like that as well?
No. Like I say, it was just being tough, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean? Then I did start having like strength and conditioning aspects as an amateur, like hill sprints and stuff like that. But again, I feel like I went away from that a little bit now as I'm more and more as a pro, and I think less and less about that. I think you need to get ready for fighting, feel preparing for fights. Do you know what I mean? And that don't mean knocking 10 bells out of each other. That means a controlled environment, going through the movement, going through the squeezes. It doesn't mean you have to go 100% with the punches, but you can go 100% with the wrestling, and that's how you really get in shape.
Yeah, but I tell you what's interesting, with someone with that kind of experience now, like I'm assuming you look at things different. We all do from like, as time's gone on. But like, how do you see sort of the way for people to train now? Do you think strength conditioning, lifting weights, do you think all that stuff's got a place, or are you sort of the other way?
100%.
Yeah.
No. So I believe that the reason I had back surgery is because I didn't lift weights.
Right.
So I used to go to ATT, work with Phil Deru, who's like one of the best strength conditioning coaches in the world. And I always had a stiff back, but then I go to ATT and I used to just say because of the heat. But I used to work with Phil Deru, and then all of a sudden my back would get better and better. Then COVID came, and I couldn't get rid of this bad back. And then I had surgery. And again, shout out to Ian Cooper, who looked after me post-surgery, and now I've got a strict strength and conditioning program now.
Okay.
What I don't miss, like at least once a week. I make sure I get my weights in: X-bar deadlifts, a back squat, a chest press, and like a row. Again, I thought when I was doing a seated row, the back should be straight all the time. You know what I mean? But I'm not going like crushing heavy. But I'm bending the vertebrae as I do it, you know what I mean? So there's flexion through the spine and strengthening them areas. I feel like having a strong spine is massively important.
I think it's everything in it. I think spine's probably the most important thing to look after. You know, like
definitely,
if someone does their knee, it's a shit injury, but people come back from it, don't they? Like people don't normally come back from bad backs, do they?
Definitely. So I fought 9 months after L4, L5 fusion.
Ooh, okay.
Which is, I know one person who's done it faster, and that's Yoel Romero. So I'm still quite impressed with that myself, but I thought I was ready then, but I realised I wasn't now. So for example, doing a deadlift, right, but this is when I fought, right? So I can only do X-bar now, but I had to bend, so to do a deadlift, I'd bend down like that, I'd grab the bar and I'd go up, yeah? I couldn't do that.
Right.
But I just thought I thought that was normal. I thought that was the new normal. I wouldn't be able to do that. Obviously now I can do that, and I think, wow, I actually had a fight with a back like that.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like, think how wrong things could have gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In reality, because I say another thing, touching on strength and conditioning. I see people now that two ends of the spectrum. Some are so into strength and conditioning where I think it's too much, and they're almost like a bodybuilder that does a bit of martial arts. And then on top of that, I see guys that don't do any strength and conditioning. Yeah. And it's like the balance has got to be in the middle, isn't it?
100%, yeah. And every strength and conditioning coach that you got thinks they're more important than
That's the problem, isn't it?
martial arts coach. So I learned fairly early on. I never do 4 sets because I'm not trying to build muscle. I'm not massively trying to build strength. So really, I make sure that I get 3 sets in, and then I can continue into the next session without being too fatigued. You know what I mean? Right. If I did that 4th set, I always, especially on legs, I always felt like I struggled in them, like in them next sessions. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting,
So
isn't
3
it?
sets is enough, and then carry on.
Because I'll tell you what, I'm a big believer as well, is you get strong for your arts doing them as well, don't you?
Yeah,
Wrestling, like if you wrestle hard, that makes you fucking strong, doesn't it? Do you know what I
100%,
mean? Like,
definitely,
and
yeah.
I look at the strength, if you want to call it strength conditioning side of things now, more as time goes on, more to look after this. Do you know what I mean? And like make things work for when you do that. Because I've definitely gone through periods of like killing myself in the gym, you know, making sure you get your heavy squats, your deadlift. You turn up for like grappling and you're like...
No, big time. And I feel like where I adapted when I was lifting as well. Like, for example, I changed my lifting to a Friday night. So, like, lifting on a Friday night sometimes was tough, so I shattered. But it wasn't affecting the sessions as much as well, do you know what I mean? Like, because what do I want to be, a weightlifter or an MMA fighter, do you know what I mean?
It's important,
so,
isn't it? It's important because, again, like with the strength and conditioning coaches, they I feel like maybe it's changing now, but back in the day a little bit, it was sort of like, they'd look at your numbers and go, oh, your bench press is getting better, I'm doing my job. When it's like, it ain't that clear cut, is it? Do you know what I mean? If that ain't transferring and you're slow in sparring, like the amount of times I had sparring sessions, especially boxing, when I got the shit kicked out of me because I was tired. Do you know what I mean?
Big time,
and you got to cut. But anyway, this is about UFC fight, not me. But like from like training and stuff over the years, there's different opinions on people like how many times a day to train. Like, how do you like to do it? Do you like to train like hard twice a day and all that business?
No. I think 2 hard sessions a day is too much.
Right.
ATT, one of the best gyms in the world. Like, I'd only do that probably once a week if I
really
2 hard sessions.
I'm surprised at that.
If you call your strength and conditioning an hard session, I suppose you. So again, at ATT, I always did my strength and conditioning after my sparring. So so it never affected the sparring. You know what I mean? So you spar, and then on the evening you do your strength conditioning. Sometimes that's heavy. But it makes total sense to why to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Because you can empty the tank then, can't you?
But yeah, wrestling always at the start of the week because that's one of the bigger sessions. And then so like at ATT, I'd be wrestling hard on a Monday. Monday evening it'd be a drilling, and then Tuesday be sparring, and then Tuesday evening it'd be the weights. I'd do a double session on a Wednesday morning. I've always had Wednesday evenings off, always. I feel like by Wednesday, if you're training properly, you need to recover for them. Thursday same as Tuesday, and Friday similar to Monday sort of thing.
And weekends, would you have 2 days off?
So yeah, I'd have, so at ATT I'd do like, it's like a drilling session on a Saturday morning. But if I went UK, I'd do my wrestling on Sunday, so I always had 1 day off.
Yeah, it's good because I was listening once on a podcast to Demetrius Johnson talk about it.
Yeah.
And he was saying how he trains, I might be butchering it, but he was basically saying how he trains less than everyone around him. Like he was doing something, and again, if I'm getting it wrong, but it was something like twice Monday, twice Tuesday, once Wednesday, rest Thursday, something like that. It was really sort of down.
Now I'm coming more to the end of my career. Like, for example, I'm still in shape and keeping up with the guys now, but I'm training like 3-4 times a week. Like, I'm coaching a lot, but I'm training 3-4 times a week, right? I know that I will overtrain in my whole career.
Right.
It doesn't take that much to get in shape. You know what I mean? As long as you stay in shape, to maintain it, it ain't that difficult. Like, you just got to find the peaks.
Right.
But overtraining, I feel like a lot of fighters go. Most fighters.
Pretty much all fighters, I think.
Pretty much all
and
fighters.
I'll tell you one thing I think as well is it's the mental side of things. I don't mean mental toughness. That's a given. I'm talking about like you need to be sharp when you're training too, right? Like if we're doing a sparring session, it's no good being sort of mentally fatigued, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, that's the old school way, isn't it? You used to get in there and do a thing called tough love. So you'd have 5 fresh partners every minute. Yeah. That's so old school. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like trying to see how tough you are and stuff. Yeah. Like another thing that I learnt a lot from ATT. You do one, 3 rounds with one guy. So you don't go different guy. You feel them getting tired in front of you. That's for me. Like I feel like I've got a good gas tank. That's a really good position for my mentality because I could feel I could break that guys in the gym with my fitness. So that confidence then went into my fights.
Right.
I'm gonna break these guys. Like obviously in training, it wasn't like trying to kill each other or anything. But like I say to everybody, like if you hurt me with a body shot, you've got to try and it's the closest you can get to finishing a fight without actually hurting anybody. Like obviously you've hurt them, but they're not hurt. Right. Like so I feel like getting that mentality at ATT, I feel like You can see it in my career and everything. Like from 2017 to 2019, like I just feel like I was a different animal.
Well, it's clever. Like you think as well. Like when you said 3 rounds there, right? If you're fighting for 3 rounds or 5 rounds, to me, I know this sounds like Captain Obvious, but you should be training for that, right?
Yeah,
because again,
100%.
people do like they've got a 3-round fight and they're sparring 7 rounds, which is like it's a different pace, isn't it?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's not the right thing to do to me.
Yeah. So you do 3 hard rounds if you're doing 3-round fights. And then you do two wall wrestling, do you know what I mean? And that were Tuesday spar done.
Yeah, it's clever, isn't it, man? It's really, and like, obviously, listen, a gym like that, you'd expect that, wouldn't you?
100%. Like I learned so much from there. I can remember one time being so frustrated at Conan, who was like the head coach. Like I got a rib injury in my first spar camp. So I got there. I was there 5 weeks. I got a rib injury the first spar. He says no contact for 2 weeks, right? They're that busy at a gym and they've got that many coaches. They could keep me busy. They could keep me busy, keep me in shape without having any contact. Like it's a phenomenal place. But I was getting frustrated, like, because obviously I'm away from my family. I'm not sparring. I'm not grappling. First spar, he made me have this body thing on, like, and then I look back now and I want to thank him so much because he got me to that fight, and I won the fight in the first round. A similar thing happened when I couldn't get into ATT during COVID. I went to a gym and I had a rib injury. So I told the coach, I'm not going to have any contact. He went, what, not even light? And I just thought, straight away, that's the fucking difference, man.
It's levels to this, isn't it?
That is the difference right there, do you know what I mean? He was looking at me like I was a coward for not doing light sparring, but I already had that experience from Conan, do you know what I mean? I think I did tell him next time I was at ATT.
But that's a real pro coach, isn't it? Like a top professional coach, because he knows it's about the fight. And like, how many fighters have left their career in here, in the gym? Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
They are artists at getting people to fights. That's the thing. Obviously, they know how to do the coaching as well, but they know how to get people to the fights. And that's a big goal in itself.
Because I think that's a big thing that I've noticed in my sort of time, if you like, of training and stuff, is that there's been a big shift from sort of like just train as hard as you can all the time to like, we're training for a reason now. Do you know what I mean? We're training, and like, obviously, listen, if you're training for a UFC fight, that's the way you make your living, right? You've got to get there as best you can. Do you know what I mean? And like, was you in the situation when you was like at the top of your career, a full-time pro, and this was all you did? Didn't have to have a job and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that makes a big difference to people, doesn't it?
Yeah, I had a lot of sport at the start, but it's all I've done since 2010, really. Do you know what I mean?
Which is mental, because 2010 it wasn't like a big deal as much.
No. So. A funny story. I went to the person I was working for, and I told him I was going pro. I says, like, can I just have 6 weeks off? I says, I don't want no pay or anything. Anyway, he must have put me on the sick or something, you know what I mean? Because I was getting paid 80 quid a week, you know what I mean? Alright, I'll take that.
I'll take that, £8 straight in the pocket. Boy's not out in the camp.
So I did have that little bit of support at the start as well, do you know what I mean? So, I feel like young fighters need that support. They need people to get behind them, and like I say, it's difficult to the people who are running 2 jobs or a job to try and make a career. Like at the start, it really is.
Especially when you get not up there in age as in getting older, but when you become sort of a man rather than a kid, like you've got more responsibility.
You've got a lot more responsibilities, do you know what I mean? Definitely,
and things going on, like there's, you know, exactly. Like if you're 18 and you're living at home, it's a different proposition, isn't it? And like, but that's a rant for another day. But like, are you a big fight fan? Do you watch the fights and stuff?
Not massively, no. I watched the main event at the weekend.
Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
Ooh. So as we're recording this, we're just after the weekend, don't we? This will come out a bit later, but I was disappointed with that one. I thought that was going to be a big fight. A good fight.
It was shaping up to be. It was shaping up to be a good fight.
Yeah, it was.
Well, wasn't it?
Because Cyril Garn was looking good, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was. He shook off a takedown at one point, and I thought, right, this could go. Definitely, this could be a good fight.
I still think Tom will winning the round. I think Tom will winning the round. It was a good round. It was a close round. Just a really sad way for it to end, wasn't it? Like it sapped the life out. You can't even imagine how the fighters felt.
Yeah, right.
Because as a fan, it was really tough.
I don't know if any news has come out yet about Tom Aspinall's eye. Is his health update been any good?
He released a short clip yesterday, didn't he? He's got his own YouTube channel now, I would imagine that's coming out tonight.
Right. Because he did like a before and after thing, didn't he?
But he wanted to get out of there before they even announced, didn't he?
Right.
So it must. he was concerned about his health,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
You can't mess around with eyes,
No,
can you? Eyes are
definitely not.
fucking going
No,
blind
no.
in a fight. That's
Yeah.
you know. But they're talking about Dana White at the post-fight press conference. I don't know if you saw it. I think they're going to turn it around pretty quick.
Yeah. I think Dana was a little bit harsh, to be honest with you. How we spoke and that, do you know what I mean? Like, but it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is.
He's in the business of trying to sell fights, isn't he? That's
Yeah, and I think from looking way on the outside, obviously, I think that sort of might upset his timeline a bit because the big White House card's coming, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing.
If they've got to fight again, that could mess up. But who knows, right? But like with the big fights and stuff like that now, like obviously this didn't go as planned as such. But I wanted to see Tom Aspinall win, obviously, right? But then I was looking forward. I want to see Alex Pereira go up. Are you?
Yeah, definitely. Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, that'd be unbelievable fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think he's like after his last performance, Alex Pereira. Did you watch his rematch with Ankalaev? Mate. To me, I'm like, mate, I just want to see.
He's just got that aura around him.
He's got something about him, hasn't he?
He's the biggest superstar in the UFC.
I believe so, yeah. And like with the White House, I know I've mentioned it already, but the White House card, I think they're gonna. You know, there's rumours circulating that Ronda Rousey's coming back and Connor's going to be on it.
She keeps posting about training, doesn't she?
Right. I think it's going to be a mad card, isn't it?
I feel like it's got to have an American at the top of the card. I feel like the one John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, I feel like that's chucked a spanner in the works there.
Well, I heard a rumour the other day as well that they're working, and again, rumour, where's it come from? Some fucking idiot in his bedroom probably, but like they was talking about that they're planning John Jones and Ngannou for the fight card as well, bringing in Ngannou back because he's fell out of PFL.
Wow.
Who knows, right?
That would be a fight.
Be a mad fight, because like Francis, and all of them, by the way, Pereira, John Jones, Francis, they're all getting to the late 30s now, right? So at a certain point it's over, isn't it? You want to see it, like if it's going to happen, it's got to happen now.
It's got to happen now, isn't it?
It's got to happen now because with like the UFC, obviously compared to boxing, like years gone by, we've missed a load of big fights, haven't we? You know, whereas like the UFC is like, I think we're
they generally make them, don't they? That's the thing. Yeah,
we've missed a few, but you know,
I hate that. Tyson and AJ haven't fought each other. I hate that. That's a big loss in boxing, isn't it?
Another one as well is AJ Wilder. Because like Wilder's fell off a cliff, and he bless him. Do you know what I mean? Like in his prime, that would have been, I think, a great fight. You know, but we'll never know, right? You get them like the Mayweather-Pacquiao situation, don't you? When it happens, but it happens too late going forward. Definitely. But like going forward, mate, as we're sitting in your gym now, like what's the plans for this place? We touched on it a little bit earlier, but like if we was to sit down again in 5 years' time, are you looking to have more gyms, or is this one just this is going to be the big one?
I'd never say never on that. Do you know what I mean? It's not in as scopes at the minute. We're fully focused on this gym at the moment. We want to grow this. Like I said, we want to get fighters fighting out of the gym. We want to be going to the competitions as a squad, as a team, and just keep growing like we are. I suppose that this is my way of fighting without fighting as such, and get that buzz, get that buzz through them. And I swear down, honestly, I've just graded two guys to grey and white belt, and I swear I was like a bubbling kid, honestly. Like I had to fight back the tears. Like it means so much to me. Honestly, see these guys how they're performing. I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? I can't wait to compete to get them competing. You know what I mean?
Well, you clearly got the passion for it, which is the right reason to be coaching. Isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And like with yours as well, are you grading these? Is this Jiu Jitsu you grading?
Jiu Jitsu, yeah.
Do you have your own grading system as well? Because some gyms have got that now, haven't they?
No, it's just the IBJJF.
Just pure, like actual, not MMA gradings and stuff like that. Because I've heard a bit of that going on.
No, so we've got a K1 syllabus as well for as junior kickboxing. I have created that myself. That's our syllabus, but in terms of BJJ, it's the IBJJ format. Yeah, so we've graded two guys to grey and white belt.
That's lovely, isn't it? That's nice. That's good. Well, mate, next time I'm up, I'm going to come down and have a session with you because I want to pick your brain like with all the sensible stuff you've done. But mate, this has been brilliant. I appreciate it. Mate. Before we finish, I always ask the most important question: judging on where we are and the accent, this might not go well. Which football team you support?
Leeds.
Chelsea's the correct answer. Thanks a lot, mate. Top man. Big history. We'll get into that next time as well. But I always finish with a fist up like this, mate. Squeeze the neck. Boom!